This video is on the TorchPack mod for PanzerElite. It contains most of the Tunisian missions of the original game, plus some of Sidi Bouzid, which happened at the start of the Kasserine Pass series of battles. Also one of El Guitar, which was a hot region near the end of the Tunisian campaign. I'll do a mission on the southwest of Furna. It's quite an interesting mission for the German side. I'll try and go through this quickly. I've explained most of the details of the menu before. I might cut this part out, but I'll just put good crew in here to make sure I win the mission. I'll go into line formation. I'll stop and let my platoon form up. This mission was near the Mejez El Bab region of Tunisia in the northeast. We redid all the maps with ones we found in American libraries which had been digitised, so there's a bit more detail of the contours and towns and vegetation. This mission we're just going to push down the road and clear out Chekarayed. We're expecting some American tanks to probably come and interfere with our action. But we'll head down the road. We're in a large battle group here. We've got one or two Tigers, so we shouldn't have too much trouble moving down a while. After PanzerElite was released around 1999-2000, its publisher was bought out by Sony Corporation, I believe, and Wings, the maker of PanzerElite, lost the rights to publish their game. So after the first big box release, which came with two 30-page paper printed manuals, it was impossible and unlawful to make any more new copies of the game. Luckily, the developers supported it by releasing a 3D object editor and comprehensive scenario landscape editor. So all us people interested in modding the game had fun for a couple of years, adding new vehicles and scenarios. I was starting to get interested in North African missions. Bob R was doing OstPack, and PEDG and Aldo Group were mostly doing British missions around D-Day time. I'm just watching what's happening with the missions so we don't get blown up. We've got Panzer 3Ls going there and some scout cars, scout half-tracks coming through. I'll go for a look around outside. We're kind of on the edge of a small ridge system. Yeah, so until about 2002 there were no new copies of the game available, but Wings got the rights back around that time and republished the game on CD through Joe Wood. I think it's an Austrian company. So that was called PanzerElite Special Edition by then. Hold on, I have to do some battle action here. We've been attacked by some American tanks. I think they're the Stewarts. I'll go to an external view so it's a bit quieter.
12 o'clock, target acquired. Judging distance. Wingman spotted target.
Yeah, so after Joe Wood had re-released the game on CD as PanzerElite Special Edition, I think it was around 2001, 2002. It must have been early 2003 or late 2002. Wings released the source code of PanzerElite to us modders. So you can imagine how thrilled we all were to actually have the ability to add almost anything we could imagine. However, the trouble was there were very few people involved in PanzerElite modding who knew how to code. So what happened for about 2 years was the couple of people who had coding knowledge were trying to work out what it was capable to do. The main thing we all wanted was a better gunnery versus slope calculations. That was relatively easy to do. And then extending the view range from the original 400 metres out to about 1200, 1600, and now we're around 2000 metres view range. And it wasn't that easy because we weren't really knowledgeable about what the code was capable of, but by 2003, 5, we'd done most of the easy things on the code, and I was a bit burnt out by PanzerElite after working on it as my only gaming hobby for the last 5 years almost. So I dropped out of PanzerElite for a long time, but mostly Aldo really got deep in the code and added things like proper time-of-flight gunnery and improved the way it handled polygons and objects on the landscape, among other things. I think we've cleared out these Stewarts, but there's still one there. So after about 2015, I came back to PanzerElite because there was no new tank sim which actually had all the features, mostly of the gameplay possibilities which we were able to do with PanzerElite. I'll just stop around and check what's going on here.
Target spotted, 12 o'clock, 900 meters.
There's more Stewarts coming. They're not much trouble at this range.
12 o'clock, 800 meters. Wingman spotted target, 12 o'clock. Special high explosive up. Wingman spotted target. Target identified. Wingman identified target, 12 o'clock.
And there's a tiger, one of our tigers.
Target acquired.
We've got quite a good... Yeah, there's tigers up here. We won't have any trouble with Stewarts.
Target acquired. Judging distance.
American unit has been destroyed.
Special high explosive up. Target acquired. Judging distance.
So around 2015, I came back to PanzerElite just to, as much of a hobby and academic exercise as anything else, to help learn coding in C++. I'd played Steel Furies, which was the only other really comparable game with PanzerElite. There was one other, Tiger vs T-34, but it was quite limited. I don't think it didn't have many landscape editors and easy way to add tanks. So I ended back up on PE in 2015, and by then Aldo and his code people, they had got fed up with PE, so I came back to it with the choice of whether using the PEX code that developed or working on my own code. I eventually went to working on my own code again, just for the academic exercise, and because I wanted to keep the gameplay features I'd put in my own code. So in many respects PEX code is more advanced than mine, but I wanted the gameplay changes I'd added to mine. So I think we've cleared out. What are they engaging here? So by 2015-2017, Bob R had also stopped working on his OSTPAC, but other people had taken over it to keep it up to date with the latest PEX code. And I had mainly been working on North African missions, mostly Libya and Egypt in 41-42. And I'd done a lot of atrocious things with the code because I really aren't very skilled, and it's taken me a couple of years to get things stable and the features I want working, functioning. So I'm pretty happy with what I've been able to achieve with PanzerElite. Not too much more will happen. It works fine on most modern computers, Windows 7, Vista, 10, 11, but some modern video cards don't support this old DirectX calls which are used by PanzerElite. And if you have a video card with over 2 gigabytes, I think, memory, the PanzerElite 3D setup utility doesn't work. I haven't had that problem myself, but I have a Windows 10 machine which will only run PanzerElite at about 3 frames per second because the new NVIDIA video card in it doesn't support PE's old-fashioned DirectX. You probably need to install DirectX 9 on a modern computer. Yeah, because modern Windows 10, 11 don't come with DirectX 9 as standard as far as I know, so you'll have to install the old DirectX 9C. And if you're lucky, you'll have a video card that supports PE. If not, you'll be stuck with 3 frames per second like my modern machine is. The machine I'm playing on now is an older Windows 7 64 i5 machine. I think it's a Radeon 7670 or something. But there's so much frame rate with this one, I actually run a 15 frame per second limiter through Bandicam. So I'll stop here and have a look around and play the game properly.
9 o'clock, 500 meters. Target spotted, 3 o'clock, 1,200 meters.
What, I'm shooting behind myself.
Target identified, 9 o'clock, 500 meters.
What's happening?
Wingman spotted target.
Oh, there's some American tanks coming down from the northwest. We might have to reposition ourselves to engage them.
Wingman spotted target, 3 o'clock, 1,200 meters.
If we're lucky, we'll knock them out on coming across the...
Wingman identified target, 2 o'clock, 1,200 meters. Wingman spotted target.
I think I'm the only one with a 75mm gun in my platoon. No, Wingman 1's a Panzer Forge as well.
Wingman identified target, 12 o'clock, 1,200 meters.
I'll get Tank 3 to move closer here.
Wingman goes location. Understood.
Get my gunner to fire at will.
Target expired. Judging distance.
Sherman formation sighted west of Arguam.
Some Lees.
American unit has been destroyed.
Target expired. Judging distance. Wingman goes location. Wingman fires at will.
Yeah, so I think I gave a basic history of PE and modding there. Although it's an ancient game, I think it's still the best World War II tank sim around. Probably because I know it so well and I can do whatever I want with it. But I'll continue playing this mission a bit. And
American unit has been destroyed.
I think we've only been going 15 minutes, so I'll play another 5 minutes or so. We're knocking out these Shermans at long range. They were trying to come down on our flanks. I think there's still one more there. Oh, there's other ones flanking us northerly.
American unit has been destroyed.
There's still a couple up there. I might reform.
American unit has been destroyed.
Wingman fires at will.
If we can knock out these tanks, the next part of the mission will be quite easy. But it's dangerous leaving them around. Yeah, it's ironic that games like World of Tanks are so popular, but nobody has done a new World War II tank sim since 2005. I think that's when Steel Fury came out. Because there certainly would be a demand for it, given how popular World of Tanks is. Perhaps it's probably not a nice thing to say, but the Ukraine conflicts will have brought up interest in tank warfare. The original PanzerElite in some ways was controversial, being a game that you could play World War II from the German side. But I don't want to get political about the Ukraine war, but it will bring interest into tank and combat sims to a higher level. I think we'll return to our normal advance down the road. Yeah, there were many people involved in PanzerElite modding development. We probably didn't cooperate as well as we could have, but everyone sort of had their own favourite theatre and favourite ideas, and try to organise people in freelance game modding. If anyone's been involved in it knows it's not very easy. So we need to get back Hamber. Where's that? A little bit further down the road, we head directly south, and we need to clear this checkered area. We only have howitzer support. I'll head directly south to fulfill the goals. This is one of my favourite missions. It's a nice balance of close and long-range combat. We've lost a few tanks up here by the looks of things. I'll stop before we go over this rise just to check out what's ahead. I can still hear the Tiger firing. I'll see what's up ahead now. That's an M3 tank destroyer. M3 tank destroyer. Some of our unit might be the Tiger knocking them out. Our gunner spotted someone. There's still people on our flanks.
Special high explosion. Target expired. Judging distance. Wingman spotted target. 4 o'clock, 1,400 meters.
My wingmen can handle him.
Fire with war machine gun. Engage cancelled.
I'll send one of my other wing tanks out to the right hand side to help him. I think they're retreating American units.
Wingman goes location.
So there's the Tigers. They're slowly moving. We'll head on down the road a bit. I can hear some 20mm auto cannon. They're in front of us. It's probably our scout cars. Part of our goal to get to back Hamber. That's here. We'll go southeast. Hold on.
Wingman fires at will. Understood. Firing at will. I am teasing fire with war machine gun. Engage cancelled. Primary goal completed.
There's something.
Mission complete. Wingman spotted target. 12 o'clock.
We've arrived in back Hamber and got the mission goal. There's some M3 GMCs retreating. M3 GMCs are very vulnerable, but their gun is quite dangerous. It's actually the original, based on the original World War I French 75 field gun. It's the same as used in the Shermans, Lees and Grants, but slightly different length and construction, but the ammunition is completely interchangeable. I'll join Bussard in the assault on Checkerayed.
American unit has been destroyed.
Secondary goal completed.
Looks like our wing tanks have got rid of those retreating Shermans. Someone's firing smoke. smoke up ahead. It's probably more M3 GMCs. Is there one there? Yes.
Target identified, 12 o'clock, 900
They're nasty.
meters. Wingman fire understood. Firing at will.
Oh,
Wingman identified target,
several of
12 o'clock, 900 meters. High explosive up. Target acquired. Judging distance.
American unit has been destroyed.
Target acquired. Judging distance.
I might end the recording soon. It's
American unit has been destroyed.
Azug Bussard with the light units has been flanking them. I'll end the recording, I think. I'll just do an external view. To end off. But yeah, it's southwest of Ferner. It's one of my favourite missions. It's always fun. That's all.